Hello SRE world. Today we're back with part 3 of the Ultimate Sports Rehab Expert, and we're going to be talking about mindful coaching and the athlete-therapist relationship. So we could easily be getting into personality types of different athletes and how you should talk to them differently, or choose your exercises accordingly based on personality types to get the most benefit from your athletes. But right now, I think we're going to start with something a little bit simpler, something that you can take away a little bit quicker and put it into practice, and that is the number one question that I will ask to my clients and athletes. And this really goes back to starting at the subjective history, getting your story from the patient right the first time. That way you know what some of the issues are, what some of the provocative factors or provocative signs are, so that when you do your orthopedic testing, you can really get down to the root cause and some of the things that are really a pain point for the individual. Maybe not necessarily some of the other orthopedic testing that you want to necessarily do because of the figuring out more of the underlying cause, but getting to something that's really take home, feels effective, and feels like training to the client, and finding something that is provocative to their pain and being able to change that fairly quickly. So let's take the split squat or a lunge, for example, with knee pain. Something an athlete probably performs fairly regularly in their exercise routines, and they're having knee pain, so this has become an issue for them. Obviously, sport may be an issue for them as well, but training is similar to sport in the fact that if an athlete notices a difference in their training and having less pain with training, they're going to have a much more positive feeling and outlook that you are going to be the right clinician to help them get back to the field of action, because you can get them back to training pain-free. So again, going back to the scenario of a lunge or a split squat, asking my number one question, where do you feel that at? That gets the athlete aware of, okay, the movement and where they might be, where the pain is located. They may very well already be in tune to this, but getting them to understand that you know exactly where their pain is with something that has been bothering them is very important for camaraderie and just them having trust in you. So just asking that simple question, where do they feel that at? But then oftentimes they're so focused on the painful area that they're not understanding where they should be feeling this exercise. So this is the bigger takeaway, is that say we're doing a split squat or a lunge or lateral lunge, any type of movement, and they're just focusing solely on the knee, that they really have no idea that they should feel their hamstrings and glutes with this type of exercise too. So if we can then manipulate the exercise, because remember from the last talk in part number 2, so if you haven't watched part number 1 or part number 2, I would stop this video, go back and watch, and then come back here. But one of the goals in therapy and performance is to manipulate a sensation to change perception. So their perception is they have pain in their knee. They're not aware of the different muscles that they should feel during this exercise, and who knows if they're even aware of this when they were not in pain. So again, we know with these type of movements we need to find and feel a hamstring and find and feel a glute. So though if we can elicit that sensation, get them performing the exercise in a slightly different way, using slightly different cues to help them find and feel these muscles, again, we're changing one of those 8 foundational exercises, and more times than not you can modify the exercise through your cues to change pain through altering perception from how they perform that exercise, the afferent feedback that they get from their joints, muscles being in certain positions and contracting a certain way, that oftentimes this elicits a different sensation. They start feeling it in their muscles that they should be feeling the exercise, and all of a sudden they don't have knee pain again when they're going through the motions. So being able to recognize how they're performing one of these 8 foundational movements and being able to manipulate variables as far as your cues goes to help athletes find and feel muscles so you can change their perception of the movement is going to give you way quicker results than ever going to the table and spending 15 minutes on manual therapy. Now, manual therapy, I feel, does have its place. Some people will argue that there's no research necessarily behind that, or some of the research is a little bit shoddy at best. But without going down this rabbit hole, we will be covering some of the manual therapy techniques in the Ultimate Sports Rehab Expert program, with the intent of, again, manipulating sensations to alter perception. But oftentimes you can go to a simple exercise tweak and get the same result, and this is much quicker. The athlete does not become reliant on you, and ultimately it's going to create buy-in that much quicker because you just change their pain in a movement that's been provocative, a movement that to them relates to their sport, and you did it in a matter of seconds just by altering how they did the movement and where they felt the movement. So you'll get buy-in ASAP from these individuals. They will love you, and they will trust in any program or any exercises that you hand out later.